They said beauty was a blessing, but they never knew it would become her curse. This is the story of a girl whose pride destroyed everything she had until life forced her to kneel, serve, and rise again. In the quiet village of Lunara lived a girl so beautiful even the sun stopped to stare. But one act of pride, one insult to the wrong person, changed her face, her fate, and her entire world overnight. In the peaceful village of Lunara, where tall trees guarded the paths and the river flowed like calm music, Lina lived with Mama Terra and Papa Terra. Her parents were gentle farmers who adored their only child. Lina grew into a young woman whose beauty stunned everyone. Her skin glowed like warm sunlight. Her eyes sparkled like tiny stars. Her hair flowed long and dark like midnight. People often whispered that the heavens spent extra time shaping her. But Lina carried her beauty like a crown, and pride followed her everywhere. Each morning, while others prepared for work, she sat before a small mirror Papa Terra had once traded for. She tilted her face in different angles, smiled at her reflection, and whispered about how no one in Lunara, or anywhere else, could rival her looks. She dreamed of marrying a powerful king and living in unimaginable luxury. Mama Terra often reminded her to help with chores. Lina only laughed and refused, insisting her delicate fingers were too precious for anything that involved dirt. When other girls fetched water at the stream or swept their compounds, Lina stayed indoors, brushing her hair, rubbing oil on her skin, and admiring herself. Her friends grew tired of her behavior. One by one, they married humble hunters, farmers, or fishermen. Zara married a fisherman with a shy smile. Mira married a hunter who walked with a limp. Juno married a farmer who rode an old bicycle. Lina mocked each of them, laughing at their husbands and calling their choices foolish. Her friends ignored her hurtful words and lived happily, which only made Lina more bitter. On a busy market day, Lina dressed herself in her finest wrapper and brightest blouse, tying a red cloth around her hair. She walked with a confident sway, enjoying every glance thrown her way. An old woman standing nearby murmured that beauty without humility was an empty pot, but Lina pretended not to hear. As she moved through the crowd, she bumped into someone, and her basket dropped. Firewood scattered across the ground. Mama Rina, the oldest woman in Lunara, had fallen to her knees. Her body was frail, and her hands shook. The villagers gasped. Lina looked down at her with disgust and blamed her for ruining her clothes. Mama Rina apologized softly, but Lina shouted at her, calling her names while everyone begged her to show respect. Lina turned and walked away without remorse, leaving Mama Rina to gather her firewood alone. Mama Rina lifted her eyes to the sky and uttered words filled with heavy power. She declared that the mirror Lina worshipped would soon reject her. Her beauty would melt away, and she would only find herself again after living with the ugliest man alive. That night Lina felt heat on her skin, and her mirror cracked. By morning, her reflection had transformed into something she could barely recognize. Her once smooth skin had become rough, her lips were cracked, her nose had widened, and her hair had begun to fall out. Lina screamed, and the whole village heard. She begged Mama Terra for help, but the old woman she had wronged had disappeared. Lina hid in shame. The villagers whispered about her fall, and the pride that once filled her vanished completely. One evening a traveler named Yellow arrived, covered in a long robe and wearing a straw hat that hid his face. He delivered a message: Lina's curse would lift only when she married the oldest, ugliest man alive, not with duty, but with sincere acceptance of the soul beneath the ugliness. Days passed, and Lina's condition worsened. Her heart softened, and she became quiet and humble. Then one morning, a knock echoed through the hut. A short, hunched man stood outside, introducing himself as Baron. His beard was long and tangled, his clothes torn, his breath sharp, and his smile crooked with only a few brown teeth. He carried a walking stick and moved with a clumsy thump. He announced he had come to marry Lina. When Lina stepped out and saw him, she froze. He was even uglier than whatever she had imagined. But when she saw her reflection in a pot of water nearby, she swallowed her fear and remembered the message. With trembling hands, she agreed to the marriage. Their wedding was silent and simple, no music, no celebration. Lina wore a faded dress, and Beran wore a torn wrapper. Life with Beran was difficult. He snored loudly, complained constantly, ordered her around, and demanded everything be done to his liking. His clothes smelled terrible, and his heart was worse. But Lina endured silently. She cooked for him, washed his clothes, cleaned his hut, and fetched water without complaint. She began greeting villagers politely, helping elderly women, and showing kindness she had never shown before. When a small girl tripped in the market, Lina was the first to help her up. Mama Rina watched from under a mango tree, seeing the change in her. That night, Lina dreamed of Mama Rina, who told her that her heart had finally become beautiful, and true beauty had returned to where it belonged. When Lina woke up, she rushed to the water pot. Her reflection had transformed again, her skin smooth, her eyes bright, her hair full and shining. Her joy echoed across the village. Lina thanked Beran for being part of her journey and gave him a calabash of food before leaving gently. A few weeks later, a prince from a distant kingdom visited Lunara. He had heard about the girl who transformed from pride to humility. He met Lina, admired her grace, and soon fell in love with her. Their wedding filled Lunara with music, dancers, and joy. Lina lived with kindness from that day onward. She greeted everyone respectfully, helped children and elders, and even visited Beran with gifts. She no longer worshipped her mirror, because she finally understood where beauty truly came from.